Wagwan YouTube, welcome to another banger reaction video. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe and hit the post notification bell to get notified whenever we post another banger reaction video. So, some breaking news chat. I scroll up on my YouTube and I see this all over my timeline. Apparently a plane crash claimed the life of 2 pilots after the plane collided with a vehicle at the airport. First of all, condolence to everybody who got unalived, and let's jump into the video and let's see what's going on.
We just heard from a senior Port Authority official after the breaking news overnight when a plane crashed into another vehicle at LaGuardia Airport with 2 people now confirmed dead. You are watching Fox and Friends First on this Monday morning. I'm Carly Shimkus.
And I am Todd Pyro. Here's what we know just moments ago from that press conference. 41 people on that plane were transported to the hospital. 32 were released, but
41 got transferred to hospital. And 30, how much got released?
People on that plane were transported to the hospital. 32 were released.
So that's about 9 persons still in hospital.
But it does appear there are 9 individuals with serious injuries at this time still in the hospital. 2 pilots, as you see on your screen right there, confirmed dead. LaGuardia will be closed until at least 2 p.m., could be longer, depending upon how long the investigation takes.
This seems like a Canadian airline, obviously, because Air Canada. So
with that, let's go live now to CB Cotton live at LaGuardia with the very latest. CB.
It said LaGuardia Airport, Queens, New York. So it happened in New York, Queens, New York.
Good morning. An absolute tragedy here on the ground at LaGuardia Airport as we get that official confirmation that 2 pilots have been killed in this collision between a passenger plane and a fire truck. Let's take a look at this crash site because this was a gut-wrenching scene. You can see here on the screen that Air Canada Express plane on the tarmac with its nose completely torn off, and nearby there appears to be the overturned, damaged Port Authority fire truck. To give some context, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey operates this airport. It just held a news conference and said the Air Canada flight was landing at around 11:40 p.m. Eastern last night, coming in from Montreal when it collided with a Port Authority fire truck that was responding to a United aircraft that had previously reported an issue with an odor. The Port Authority released an earlier statement saying, quote, at approximately 11:40 p.m. on Sunday, a Jazz Aviation flight operating on behalf of Air Canada was involved in an accident on runway 4 at LaGuardia Airport in which the aircraft struck a Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle that was responding to a separate incident. And again, moments ago, we got more.
That's really sad, bro. That's really sad. So the fire truck was responding to a different aircraft that smelled odors, and this plane was landing, and I don't know what happened. Like if they didn't see each other, well, obviously the fire truck probably is not going to see the plane, but didn't the plane see the fire truck?
More details about how this unfolded. So Air Canada again says that flight was traveling from Montreal to New York, operated by Jazz Aviation. We also learned the flight had 72 passengers and 4 crew members on board. Port Authority recapping moments ago that 41 passengers and crew members were taken to the hospital. 32 people have now been released, but we've been told there are serious injuries. There was light rain, fog, and mist when the collision occurred, but it's too soon to say how and if the weather played a role. Here's one injured passenger recounting the harrowing moments.
We were coming in pretty fast. It was like a regular flight, like always. But as we were arriving, we came down really hard, and then we stopped really quickly, and then about 2 seconds later, we just had an absolute slam. Everybody was flying everywhere. I mean, the plane started veering off left and right, and there was I mean, just it was chaos. I mean, it didn't feel like there was anybody in control of anything.
And our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who was involved in this collision this morning. Todd, as you mentioned, there will be no flights into or out of LaGuardia Airport until at least 2 p.m. local time. The NTSB will now lead the investigation. Back to you in the studio.
Remarkable to hear that first-hand account from that passenger, CB. CB Cotton live for us at LaGuardia Airport. CB, we thank you so much. Let's bring in former NTSB investigator Charlie Pereira. Charlie, we do know that the NTSB is launching a GO team to investigate this collision. So what are your thoughts on what led to this crash and what we know so far?
Well, we're going to need to get all of the data before we can make an evaluation. The NTSB, of course, launching a GO team. The initial things that will determine exactly what happened are going to be the ADSB data, which is going to give you the position of the airplane once every couple seconds. And then we're going to have some ground radar possibly that might have the fire truck, might show the fire truck movement as well. And there might be airport video recording sources and possibly some private individual video recording sources that can give us the time history of the vehicle movements as well. So once the NTSB is able to collect and analyze those along with the air traffic control audio transcripts, then they'll be able to piece together what happened. And
well, first of all, we have to thank God say it never worse, because it could have been worse, according to what the passenger there say. Could have been worse. It sounded like it was worse, but condolence to the two pilot, and the rest of persons were in a critical condition or in a serious condition at the hospital. The 9 persons, hopefully them pull through too. The plane itself not look as damaged, so I guess the fire truck look mashed up though. Look on the fire truck.
Why it happened and how to prevent it from happening again.
Charlie, there was a guest on with Ashley Strohmeyer during our breaking news overnight coverage who said the plane was possibly going at this point in the...
Everybody from like where the air sign is to the front of the plane likely got some form of injury. Because as you can see, the front part of the plane is like this. So it broke right at the ear and then like lunges forward like that.
Landing process between 20 and 30 miles an hour. But when you look at this footage, this does not look like an interaction between two vehicles going 20 to 30 miles an hour. We've all seen accidents on the side of a road where a car's gone 30 miles an hour. It doesn't look like this. How fast do you think these two vehicles, the plane and the fire vehicle from Port Authority, were possibly going at this point?
Well, I'm assuming that they've taken a look at preliminary ADSB data to determine the aircraft speed. But keep in mind, the aircraft is mostly an aluminum fuselage, and that fire truck is more than likely mostly a steel structure. And their combined velocities together are going to result in significant damage to that aluminum airplane. I liken them to flying beer cans, basically, compared to the structural integrity of a fire truck. So if they used initial preliminary ADSB data to come up with that number, that might be true. And especially if they were coming at each other, if their velocity vectors were pointing at each other, then the combined velocity could have been significantly higher. So if the truck was...
And then the airplane is not much the airplane can do if the airplane is coming in for a landing, like coming in straight in like this down to land on the straight runway. I think that the fire truck would have more options of avoiding the crash, to be honest, my opinion. But I don't know what happened. I saw
going 50 miles an hour and the airplane was going 30 miles an hour. If they were going right at each other, that would be a combined impact of 80. So, we're just going to have to take a look at what the data show. But when I first saw the pictures last night, when you guys called me at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., whatever it was, to discuss my coming on the show, the only thing it showed was the initial pictures. And my first thoughts were, wow, the pilot compartment on that airplane, I'd be really surprised if the pilots didn't suffer at least significant injuries. And it sounds now like the pilots were killed. So that's a terrible thing to have happen. The cockpit voice recorder audio in this one is going to be important. That'll give us a lot of the audio leading, or all of the audio leading up to the crash. And it'll certainly help establish the timeline, but it'll be a tragic cockpit voice recorder recording.
And Charlie, speaking of audio, there are reports on the air traffic control recordings already, and they say that the vehicle had requested permission and had been cleared by the air traffic controllers to cross the runway 4.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna understand. The fire truck requests clearance to cross the runway. They gave the fire truck clearance to cross the runway. Is the plane not communicating with the runway, or is the runway not telling the plane that there's something crossing the runway? I don't understand. Or did they think like the by the time the plane will land, the fire truck would have already passed? Is that the case?
And then shortly after being cleared, the air traffic controller tells the vehicle to stop several times right before that collision. When you hear something like that, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we're gonna basically, an animation will.
So them tell it, the fire truck says clear, and then after telling the fire truck that's clear, they told the fire truck multiple times to stop. Okay.
Show everybody exactly what happened in real time and allow us to visualize and hear exactly what's going on in this tragedy. And it sounds to me from what you're saying like there may be some hearing issues on the part of the fire truck that will be examined later. It's required that the fire truck be authorized in its path along the airport surfaces there. So it sounds like the air traffic controller or possibly the ground controller, I'm not sure which one was speaking to him, whether it was tower or ground control that told him to stop, but they obviously realized that they had a conflict going on. And sounds from what you're saying that the driver.
Basically, them are gonna blame the fire truck, because if them tell the fire truck to stop multiple times and the fire truck never stop, and then cause the accident. And like I said previously too, the fire truck had more option to avoid the accident because of how the plane are coming on a straight way. If it stop, the fire truck could have like divert the plane with a more harder without causing an actual more catastrophic plane crash to actually divert from that incident. But that's just my opinion, to be honest.